Welcome to another episode of the Talented Learning Executive Briefing Series. This is my favorite series of content because we get to travel the worldwide and meet with the world's best learning technology solutions. And today's no different. We're in California. We're meeting with CYPHER Learning. We're with Graham Glass, who's a known entity here at Talented Learning, been on multiple podcasts and webinars over the years. And today we're going to look at an update of the CYPHER Learning solution from both a business standpoint and from a product and technical standpoint. And be prepared to be blown away because we've got some of the best examples of AI in the industry, and we're going to see it today. Graham, take it away. It's all yours.
Thanks a lot, John. It's nice to be on your show again with some more updates.
Again and again.
So maybe I'd start just by giving your audience a little overview of CYPHER Learning. And one of the best ways to understand CYPHER Learning is to look at why I started the company in the first place. So I am an educator, and I learned how to educate at the University of Texas at Dallas. And I was teaching computer science there for quite a number of years, and I absolutely loved it. Then after graduating from UT Dallas, I started a professional training organization, and I was teaching corporate training all over the United States, teaching computer science. Fast forward a number of years, and I'll leave out the actual number. Fast forward a number of years, and I wanted to start a company, and I wanted to be at the intersection of education and high tech, because those are my two strengths. And I thought that the learning platforms out there for both K through 20 and corporate were really boring. It wasn't easy as an educator to create engaging courses. It wasn't easy to get analytics. It wasn't easy to do personalized learning. The user interfaces were just nasty. So I thought, here is a great opportunity to disrupt the learning platform space. So I started CYPHER Learning over 10 years ago. And we had quite an unusual strategy, which was build a single, fully featured platform that would be world-class simultaneously in both the world of corporate and the world in K through 20. And no one had really tried to do this before. And not only do that, but it infused all the latest technologies, the latest learning techniques into the platform to make it really simple for our end users to leverage. And ultimately, you might call that we wanted to build the world's best modern learning platform. And when I say modern, I don't mean just for young people. I mean, it's just got to work the way that people expect things to do in this day and age. And it's been very successful. We received 40 million in investment a couple of years ago from investment partners in California. And that allowed us to build our executive team, to get much bigger customers, to really show the world what's possible in the world of learning. So our product is called the CYPHER Learning Platform. As I mentioned, the world's best modern learning platform, and I'm looking forward to demoing it to your listeners shortly. So I'll pause there because I can talk about our partnerships and distinguishing features, etc. But I just wanted to pass it back to you, John, and let me know where you'd like this to go.
Congratulations on your success and the growth of the company. It's fantastic. I vouch for everything that you're saying, as I've been following you very closely over the last 10 years as you've been making these steps forward. One thing I want to correct you on, though, is that it has been tried to do corporate and K through 12 or K through 20 at the same time. It's been tried multiple times. However, nobody's been successful at it. Except
yes, I do stand corrected. They've tried and failed. Yeah.
But no, yeah, that's great. I'd love to hear about anything that you want to share with us. We're all ears.
Yeah. So first I'll talk about our global footprint. So we are definitely a very diverse worldwide organization. So our customers are in 100 countries around the world. We support 50 languages. We have employees in 23 different countries. So we're providing customized platforms for Spanish-speaking Latin America, for you name it, the language, we support it. So we're very much a global company. A few other things about us is that we have a lot of distinguishing functionality, both in the world of things like automation, which allow you to essentially, a user can program when X happens, do Y. That's a very powerful feature for educators. I can create courses where the path you take through the course is determined by your previous history. So automation is great. Enterprise integration is great. There's so many great things. So we decided, how are we going to convey this in an easy terms to our customers? So we came up with the simple phrase, smarts, strength, and style. So that's the buckets I put them into. Now, the smarts one, I'm really looking forward to demoing for you very shortly, because we have some amazing functionality with regards to AI. We're very good at things like automation. And also, we're really into something called competency-based learning. Sounds complicated, but it's really simple. The general idea is, if you want to have a personalized learning experience, which is more than, hey, you like marketing, here's a video on marketing. But if I want to target specific strengths and weaknesses, then you have to create what we call a digital learning profile that's fairly fine-grained. So if I was teaching digital branding, maybe icon design is one specific competency that you should have. And we have the best platform support for competency-based learning. And I'm going to try and show that to you as well in this demo. And because of that, that allows us to do really sophisticated skills development. Because once we map a particular employee in a company and what they're interested in and their strengths and weaknesses, we can specifically target learning materials and social experiences to close those skills gaps. So that's all like the smarts bucket. Then there's the strength bucket. And the biggest one in that is enterprise integration. And enterprise integration is absolutely fundamental to doing business with any large corporation, because they want to integrate with their HRIS, their CRM system, their financial systems, their digital credentialing systems, you name it. And we now integrate with over 1,000 different enterprise apps through one of our features called Connect. Connect includes a graphical workflow system. So without any programming knowledge at all, you can say things like, when someone gets an account in Salesforce, then automatically create an account in CYPHER. When somebody finishes a course in CYPHER Learning, automatically update that into your HRIS, etc. So we have a really robust enterprise integration with, totally modern APIs as part of that. We also do an excellent job with reporting and analytics. So our reporting system is one of those features that helps us to close deals, because you can report on so many things down to a very fine grain. So in the strengths area, we really shine. And then there's the style part of the things. So the style is a modern user experience. So it's not just looking pretty, does the navigation fluid? Is it easy to do everything? Is your system consistent throughout, where some vendors is like, this page looks great and this page looks like it's literally 15 years old. But it's more than just the pure UI, it's what is the learning experience like. So when I was an educator, I got really good at creating courses that were fun, because I kind of mentally mapped out all the ebbs and flows to the course and the fun things that would happen here. And if this happens, then I'm going to give them this kind of project. So people used to take my course. The question is, how can I take that and make it scalable? And through the use of automation and gamification, you can create courses that surprise and delight the learners. For example, when I go into a course, use automation to automatically pop up a welcome video, but maybe after 10 minutes, give them a little delay so it's not like too obvious. And then maybe when you finish the first module, give them 100 points so they can hit the first level of the game that you've set up. And maybe in a team environment, the sales team and the marketing team are competing to get points and badges so they can outdo each other. Or maybe when you finish the course, give you a personalized certificate of completion, and also use an enterprise integration to give them a Credly badge. So using automation, you can create courses that are really good fun. And then last but not least, there's the social element, the human connection. So we really think that people learn better together. And so our system has tons of social stuff, whether it's built-in web conferencing, built-in Skype integration, built-in live chat. You can create social groups, you can create study groups, They even have their own dashboards. You can set up rules for when people in groups get certain kinds of messages. And one of the coolest things, well, actually there's two coolest things. The first thing is when people tell our system they've got a learning goal, we automatically bring people together with the same learning goals. So if you've got 10 people in your organization that all want to master digital marketing, because we know they have the same goals, we automatically bring them together socially so they can communicate, answer each other questions, share, best practices. Then the other thing that we developed during COVID is we call it the little green dot. It's really a way to show activity. So with a little green dot, when you log in, you automatically see little tiny, very innocuous little dots flashing on all the courses that have the most social activity, all the groups where people are currently in those groups. Or you go into a course and we actually show this little rotating widget that shows you everything that's going on in that course. So the general idea is we have this beautiful software system which can be accessed remotely, obviously, but we don't want people to feel isolated. We want them to bring them together. So anyone who's used a CYPHER platform will always comment about the fact that we have such good kind of the human connection factor. So those really are the three main buckets: the smarts, the strength, and the style.
All right. We should have scheduled a few hours so we can see all this stuff. We're gonna have time. I want to see it all. You still haven't even mentioned Copilot yet. On top of all that,
that's going to be like that's part of Sixth Sense.
That's part of Sixth Sense. All right, cool. Yeah. That's great. That's great. A little anecdote, folks. It's probably on a recording somewhere, but maybe 2 or 3 years ago when we were doing this, Graham told me that he likes to spend an hour a day just clicking through the system, looking to see what could be better, what could be a little bit easier to use, what's taking an extra click. It doesn't have to be, and just spend time every day doing that. It's always a focus. Stuck with me.
I'll tell you a couple of other things before. Tell you a couple of things before we go into demo mode. Something about big and interesting customers. So one of our most recent customers is the country of Qatar. And one of our corporate objectives is to disrupt learning and show people what's possible. Because we really do think that a lot of people don't know what's possible in a learning platform because they've just used such clunky old systems for so long. They just assume that's the state of the art, and it's not. Mm-hmm. So the country of Qatar was a project that we engaged with through one of our top partners, which is Microsoft. And they wanted our system to run on Azure for the Ministry of Education there. They wanted every single kid in Qatar to be all on the same platform. They liked competency-based learning because that really is the best approach to doing modern learning. They wanted a great user interface, and they're really into gamification. And not just gamification of the learners, but gamification of the teachers and the content creators. And we have world-class gamification. There's like nothing else like it in the learning platform space. So I think at this point, we've got the world's largest single gamification setup with hundreds of thousands of people on a daily basis, getting points and badges, getting promotion, demotion, depending on their behaviors. And they're telling us they've seen like at least a 30% increase in platform engagement as a result of this very large scale gamification. So that's just one particular example. Another example is McDonald's Australia that uses CYPHER platform for training all the franchisees. So it's not just about compliance training, guys, in corporate world, as you know, but compliance does get more than its fair share of coverage. But you want to create a new course so that when someone sets up a franchise, they get a really delightful, engaging experience that's efficient, maybe even introduces franchises together in a social environment. So McDonald's Australia is a customer of ours. We are a customer of ours. So all of our employee onboarding, all of our internal training, whether it's beginner, intermediate, advanced, is all done in terms of learning pathways, makes full use of automation. So we can say, like in compliance, if you are in the Latin America and your language is Spanish and you're in the sales department, then this is the particular path that you will take. So you can do some really fine-grained logic for that. And also we incorporate a lot of third-party content. So we have content partnerships with Go1, Udemy, LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, edX, and we're always adding more. So within CYPHER Learning, we're using some courses from Go1, for example, for our compliance training, but we're also using a whole bunch of our own homegrown courses for how we do sales at CYPHER Learning, how do we marketing, how do we do engineering at CYPHER Learning. So it's very much a hybrid, internal training, external training, compliance training. And as a result of that, Forbes gave us the award for the best corporate learning platform in 2023, I think, and also the best employee onboarding platform as well. So, so people are like noticing that this is pretty good stuff. The other partnership I want to mention is Dell. So Dell is the largest seller of hardware to the education industry. A lot of Dell deals that they close that are $100, $200 million deals. And when you sell an education deal, obviously a bulk of it is hardware, but you typically will also need a learning platform. And so Dell could have chosen any learning platform to team up with, and they chose CYPHER Learning. So when we do deals, which are either corporate deals for talent development, so we're doing those with Dell, or K through 20 deals with large universities or states, all of those deals come bundled with the CYPHER Learning platform. So it's pretty nice now that we've got some really strong partners. We're doing stuff with AWS as well. We're doing obviously a lot of content stuff with Go1. So we're in pretty good company there.
Smart strategy. That's a great way to distribute your product like that.
So let me know when you want to see a demo, John.
Let's see it. Everybody here's biting their fingernails, waiting. They want to see this. There's a lot of talk.
Okie dokie. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my dashboard, share the screen here. So let me know if you can see this. Okay.
All right, it's up.
Okay, great. So, the first thing that strikes a lot of people is the platform looks good. I've chosen dark mode for this particular demo, but there's obviously a similar kind of light mode. And when you first land, this is an instructor and admin view. So you see a lot of features. And because this is a demo site, we've enabled almost every feature. So if you want fewer features, that's easy to configure. The dashboard itself is the most important place. We have a built-in drag and drop dashboard builder. So you can easily customize this to your heart's content. But in this particular case, we've got a little welcome widget. Then we've got the courses widget that shows you courses you're teaching, courses you're enrolled in, courses for compliance. And in a few minutes, we're going to dive into this digital marketing course, and I'll give you a tour of what a course looks like. Then we've got learning goals. So this learning goals is all basically related to personalized learning and skills development. So you can tell the CYPHER Learning platform, I want to get good at this set of skills, or I want to get really good at this job, which has an associated set of skills. And then our recommendations engine automatically figures out which skills you are missing in order to master all the skills for that particular job, and then automatically starts making recommendations of courses and resources and groups where you can get those particular skills. And as I mentioned, we're a really big believer in tracking skills to a fine grain, 50 skills or so, not just you're good at marketing, you're not good at marketing. Then later on in the dashboard, we've got things like which social groups are you part of? And we're one of the few platforms that actually makes groups a first-class entity like courses. There's quite a few vendors where you can have a group in a course, or a group is just a collection of people and that's it. But we take groups very seriously. So groups have got dashboards, news feeds, weblogs, wikis, resources areas, built-in chat, you name it. Here's, in this particular case, we've got a list of all the games I'm in. We've got all of my digital awards. We've got a news feed. We've got embedded real-time reporting. So for example, one of the things that we're really proud of in CYPHER Learning is that it's a really diverse set of employees from a lot of different countries. So in the CYPHER Learning dashboard, we've got a widget that shows the breakdown of all the people in our company by country. And that's something which is on the dashboard because we're really proud of it. And obviously, if I go to the left here, I can see the courses that I'm teaching, all of my currently active learning goals, which groups I'm in, access to a graphical course catalog. And we have one of the best supports for international e-commerce. Everyone's got Stripe and authorized.net, but we've got all kinds of international payment gateways because we are in 20, we've got employees in 23 countries. Notice also that here is part of our content integration. So we've got partnerships with Go1, LinkedIn, and Udemy, and I'm just pulling down the Go1 catalog. There's thousands of courses, so it takes a little bit of time. And I can browse through the Go1 system and enroll in a course, and that course will be embedded directly inside of the CYPHER platform, so you never have to go out the platform to take advantage of those third-party courses. And at CYPHER Learning, we use some compliance courses from Go1 as some of the courses that we have in our own system. Then you've got users catalog. You can segment the users within a single platform to organizations. So we've got some customers that will sell courses to 1,000 organizations, and each organization can have its own portal, its own look and feel, its own logo. And it's really common for customers to have a single portal where it's set up partitioned. So this part of the portal is for our own employees. This part of the portal is for our customers that we sell courses to. We've got a beautiful resources catalog, and we are tracking lots of stuff here. It's not just videos, it's not just text, it's like competencies, digital badges, certificates, content templates, Google Docs, question banks, all of the things that you assemble modern courses out of can be stored and shared and found through our resources catalog. Now, what I'm going to do in just a second, because I mustn't forget the reporting system. This is one of the reasons that we beat competitors. We've got really robust reporting. So if you want to create your own custom report, it's super easy to do. Maybe I'm going to, and I can share reports. Maybe I'm going to share this with my whole business. I'm going to report on, and there's a lot of things. I can do reporting on badges, reporting on users, reporting on compliance. In this case, I'll do a little report on courses. And then the sheer number of things that you can report on within a course, the badges in the course, the certificates that are awarded within a course, the enrollments in a course groups, it's like endless. So people who have hit a brick wall where I can't get what I need out of my reporting system, they really like the CYPHER platform. Now, what I'd like to do at this point is I'm going to show you a course, because this is where kind of the rubber meets the road, so to speak. So I'm going to take a look at this course, Digital Marketing. So here's a course that makes use of all the cool features that we've got designed for educators by educators. So the first thing is we try and make it beautiful. And this is the instructor view. The learner view is similar, but it's simplified and more streamlined. So what you can see here is I've got a course in digital marketing, and it's comprised of 10 different modules. All these modules have customizable imagery, so you can make it look really beautiful. This course, by the way, is going to take advantage of automation, which is one of our key differentiators, world-class gamification, which is also a differentiator, and competency-based learning, all in one course. So before we created the course, we created a starting point, a group of competencies. So as I mentioned, if you really believe in personalized learning, it means you've got to know the strengths and weaknesses of the learner. And if you want to do efficient, targeted personalized learning, you have to know that at a fairly fine grain. So in the case of digital marketing, here are the kind of things that you ideally would like someone to learn about and then show mastery of. Consumer behavior, search engine optimization, pay-per-click, community management, Google Analytics. We all kind of know what these are like. So you start with this, then you start creating the modules. So let's pick one, strategy and planning module. Now, this particular module is built out of a collection of sections. And because it is a demo, I wanted to give the audience a feel for the richness of sections. So these sections here that I'm going to go into a minute are pages of content, and they were built using our own built-in authoring tool. You can upload SCORM. We support 1.2 and 2004. You can embed LTI tools. So LTI is a very important standard, Learning Tools Interrupt. But we also have written assessments, question banks, randomized question banks, group assignments. There's a lot more people these days getting into cohorts and team projects and this kind of stuff. So all of these things can be added from this little menu of options. And people in the corporate world are usually really impressed by the sheer range of assessment capabilities we have. So let me go into market research. So here's just some HTML plain content that goes through all about market research. Now we've got ones which have some embedded imagery about search engine optimization. Here's a video on search engine optimization. And one of the things that you'll notice is all of these things are aligned to the competencies. So strategy and marketing, if I click here, it's saying that this specific set of sections is targeting C.2 strategy and planning. So as you can imagine, as you go through this content, you can go through a bunch of content, and then maybe there's a written assessment. And a surprising number of customers are actually do include written assessment, by the way, as part of their assessment materials. So here's a written assessment, and here is a rubric that allows you to score all of that assessment automatically aligned to competencies. So as I go through this rubric, I want to say, hey, this rubric is doing this. You also might want to have question banks. So, you know, most people, whether they do written or team assignments, will at least quiz the students. And if you believe in competency-based learning, then you want each individual question to be tied to the specific competency that is assessing. So that way, as you go through the course, you can say, you know, Joe is good at this pay-per-click. He's not good at SEO. He's really good at icon design. And that way I can help Joe out to gain mastery in the areas that they currently haven't mastered. And then, as I mentioned, sometimes you want individual projects. If I really want to if this was a 1-week training course taught for IBM, which I used to do, by the way, then a lot of the time in companies like IBM, we'd actually partition the audience around little tables, and we would do projects together. And that was really effective. So this is an individual project. This is a group project, all aligned to competencies. So what you typically do as an instructor is you craft out the set of modules, you align them to the competencies. You don't have to use competency-based learning if you're using the CYPHER platform, but we just, recommend it, and we've got great support for it. And then what you would typically do then is, hey, let's use some gamification to make things more fun. So what we did for this digital marketing course is we came up with a game called Digital Mastery. And when you do gamification, it's quite nice to use fun, whimsical terms. So you can start as being a digital novice and end up as a digital guru. And for this game, for this course, we came up with 5 customized badges. And these badges are awarded when you reach certain levels in the game. So, for example, when you get to digital novice, these are the things that happen. Now, this is one of maybe between 50 and 100 areas where we support automation. So one area is when you get to this level, do the following. So I can create awards, like I could give you a certificate in this case. I might want to issue a badge to Credly. If I want to do a robust enterprise integration, maybe I want to trigger an AWS message queue message and goes to some third-party system. Maybe if I'm into XAPI, I want to emit an XAPI tuple to a learning record store. So there's a lot of different things that you can do under automation. You can put people in social groups, like when you complete a course, automatically put you in a group where you can continue with your cohorts to learn together. So you set up this game, and then the next question is, well, when do you award points? So our gamification system is implemented in terms of automation. So we went and said, when you complete the first module, give them 100 points. But this is just one example. I can say when you finish a quiz with over 90%, I'm going to give you a badge. When you finish module 3, I'm going to give you a badge and 1,000 points. It's totally up to you. So here, for example, here's the first module. And I say, when I complete this module, I'm going to do the following. But you can trigger automation almost anywhere. When you finish a module, when you finish an assessment, when you add an account, when somebody enrolls in the course, when you add someone to a group, when you complete a learning path, when you complete a learning goal, you get the general idea. This allows the system to be very flexible.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Some additional things, just a little like icing on the cake, is one of the things that I always used to like to do for my learners is to give them a glossary. So if you're studying digital marketing, this is pretty cool. Here are all the terms that you might use in digital marketing at a glance. Or study guide. So at the end of the course, if you just want to do a quick concentrated study, here is the kind of thing that you might want to create. Now, I mentioned earlier, John, that this new demo that I gave you, I used the term sixth sense. And now I'm going to tell you why. This course did not exist, John, when we started this interview. It didn't exist. It was built entirely by Copilot, which is our AI-powered content creation tool. And everything that you saw, the modules, the imagery, the text, the videos, the images, the games, the glossary, the study guide, the quizzes, the essays, the projects, the badges, everything was created in 10 minutes.
No.
It's pretty amazing, huh? Now, let me tell you a little bit about Copilot. So Copilot is our umbrella feature that allows people to complete everyday tasks much faster, leveraging AI. And Copilot does a lot in version 1, and it's going to do way more later this year than anything you even saw right now. You don't have to know anything about AI at all. Let me show you how easy it is. Here's Copilot. Copilot, I want to add a course. And I can do anything that I want. If you're a Star Trek fan, hey, I'm going to build a course on Star Trek Next Generation.
All right, now you got my attention.
And then it says, okay, give me some guidance. So maybe I'm actually going to teach this one to teenagers. And I'm going to do a humorous style. And I can make it in Spanish, German, Arabic, any language I want. But I'm going to stick to English. Now with competencies, you can say how many competencies you want. And later today, you're also going to be able to pick from any of the competencies that are industry standard or in the resources catalog. So for example, all of the ESCO European standards job titles are already in CYPHER platform. So if I want to build a course for an ESCO job title, I literally just say, pick the competencies, 3D animator is one of them. I go 3D animator, do it, and it will create me a course for that entire ESCO competency standards in any language I want. Then under content, all you do, hey, do you want a glossary at the end? Do you want a study guide? Do you want images? Do you want videos? It's just like click, click, click. What kind of assessments do you want? So if I don't want written, but I do want this, and I want it to be 10 multiple choice, and I don't want individual, I do want group, click, click, click. That's how you tell it what to do. And then do you want it gamified? And that's it. And then I just go continue. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that we are not marketing this saying we build 100% of a course. That's not realistic. And it wouldn't make any sense. You know, educators are really good at what they do. And a lot of their job is to customize things, personalize them, add their own flavor, add their own projects, review the content that's created for them by Copilot. So what we're saying is Copilot will do 80% of the work, and the L&D guy or the professor is responsible for the remaining 20%. But by our calculation, that's going to save per course 320 hours and $11,000 per course. And guess how much this costs to create this course on the CYPHER platform? It's less than $10. So you spend $10 or less, and it saves you $11,000. So then I just say create. So Copilot is at work, saving you time, and then it takes you to the status page. So this is the Star Trek Next Generation page, which is being built as we speak. And this is the little status page that you can refresh at any time. And it usually starts off slowly, because what it's doing, it's generating the competency group, which forms essentially the backbone of the course. And that might take it 30 seconds to a minute to do that. And then it really starts cranking through all of that content. So for example, here is the set of competencies for teaching Star Trek Next Generation. And it's pretty good. I mean, technological advancements, transporter, holodeck, AI. Yep, that sounds about right. Intergalactic diplomacy, various story arcs, some of the main characters. And this is Next Generation, remember. If you did, the first series, it would all be about Captain Kirk and Spock. And you can see right now, it's incomplete, like it hasn't put the custom imagery, probably hasn't filled out the sections, but now we can see the overall structure that's being built. And it usually takes about 10 minutes to finish the whole thing. And so, we're all about pushing AI to its limits. And this is just version 1 of Copilot. So later on this year, we're going to be releasing a whole bunch of functionality that is learner-oriented as well. We want to supercharge the learning experience so you can learn whatever you want really quickly, assisted by AI. And we've even got tons of features for Copilot 1.1 that will raise the ante in terms of what even the content creation is capable of doing. So the nice thing with this Copilot is it saves a huge amount of time. One of the reasons that we really like what we've done is we want to show the world learning platforms are capable of so much. We don't want to get stuck in the dark ages. We want to pull everyone into the 21st century. And so we think that Copilot makes a very strong statement in that direction. So.
Wow, that's great. That is just incredible that it can pull that together.
Yeah, it built
right?
the
320
digital
hours.
marketing course took 10 minutes and 16 seconds to build. I do want to mention one thing as an educator. So I've personally built a lot of courses in my life, either on my own or with a team of people. And one of the things that's the most profound about Copilot and the content creation piece is it enables a new kind of approach to building courses. So think about, say Star Trek. There's lots of different ways to slice and dice that course. You can do it in a timeline fashion. You can do, or you can build a course that orients more around the characters and their inventions. Or you can build it around the location that they were in the universe. And so that's one of those things that you normally try and figure out early on in course development, because once you've committed to a certain line, it affects the way that you construct the course and the competencies and everything else. Now, one of the features of Copilot is every time you build a new course with it, it will generate you a different kind of course. Sometimes they're very similar, sometimes they're quite different. And that is a feature, not a bug. Because think about human creativity, it's all about trying different things and picking the ones that work. So one of the things that I do when building courses in Copilot is I will tell Copilot to build 5 versions of the same course. And it can do it actually at the same time. So in 15 minutes, I've got 5 different courses on Star Trek Next Generation or digital branding or whatever I want. And then I look at the 5 and I think that's the one that really hit the spot. Like you can just browse through it and you can see, yeah, that I really like the way that one worked out. Archive the other ones. You don't need to delete them. It doesn't cost anything to archive them. And take that one and then personalize it and put in the extra 20% of effort. So this very rapid iterative development of courses, it's just not possible without a feature like Copilot. So when I'm giving seminars on this stuff, it's not just about, oh, look, it can build a course. It's like, oh, look, this now opens up an entirely new way of building courses.
So this is only version 1. So just my mind's just going to the next spot already. So what happens if you're looking at that course outline, the competency outline? You're like, okay, Jean-Luc Picard, Riker, but I also want, Jory LaForge and data on there.
Just
also.
So
can you make modifications like that?
That's a great question. So we fully support that. So Copilot is like having a superhuman research assistant and a superhuman typist who's an expert on our platform. So while Copilot generates this, it's all editable. There's nothing set in stone. So I can go in to this importance of digital marketing and I can click edit and I can replace this image with maybe like my corporate one, which is better. I can tweak paragraphs. I can do all kinds of stuff in the course. I can add a couple of competencies and then I can say, generate one more module that uses these 2 competencies. And now I've filled in the gaps. So it's designed for massaging, if you like. Create the course and then make your edits, replace this image, put in this video, add competencies, regenerate this one module. So, the idea is you start with a really incredible starting point, but then you can use Copilot in the more fine-grained, add one or more modules, add a project, add a rubric, and to fine-tune your course.
How go back to your example. So you have 5 Star Trek courses. What if I like aspects from all of them? What's the thought process of maybe bringing some concepts from all 5?
One of the things that you can do in our system, obviously, is everything can go in the resources catalog. The individual assessments are in the catalog. The individual modules are in the catalog. So you can just go in and say, add a new module, pick one from the resources catalog and plug that in.
Plug it in. Cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that's neat.
So hopefully I've given you kind of an idea of, our differentiators are clearly automation, gamification, beautiful user interface, competency-based learning, fine-grained skills development, recommendations engine. Those are all like, as of, a month ago, that would have been our differentiators. And they're all quite major. Even just one of them is actually quite a major but we've got like 5 or 6 of them. Sometimes we don't even know which ones to focus on. But the AI one, that is really the cherry on the cake, because what that does, it allows people to use these sophisticated features super fast. What people used to tell us was, I love competency-based learning, but it's a little bit of extra work. I love tagging questions with competencies, but that's a little bit of extra work. I like using the rubrics for scoring assessments, but that's a little bit of extra work. And what we're trying to do is to bring that extra work down to almost 0. So then that way people can take advantage of all the features and they can build something like this in 10 minutes.
Wow. Well, and just the ROI on the authoring part alone pays for the rest of the solution.
Yeah, in fact, the ROI is so significant that in the admin area, we actually specifically have a cost savings thing here. So these are all industry standards. It takes about 40 hours to create 1 hour of content. Typical instruction designer in the United States, $35 an hour. That obviously can vary around the world. And we're saving you 80% of the time. So if you just do the math, every course in Copilot saves you 320 hours, over $11,000. And the cost in AI credits is going to be less than $10.
You ought to let people edit what the cost of the hour is based on.
We probably will add a cost calculator at some point.
Yes. Because I tell you what, I can't buy anything for $35 an hour instructional design wise. It's double that easy.
Yeah, maybe that particular reference is out of date.
Yeah, no, you have to pay more than that nowadays. Wow.
So I'll
Cool.
flip out a
Oh, I
demo.
love it.
There we go. But I like the
All
Sixth
right.
Sense thing because do you remember the Sixth Sense movies? At the end, you go, "Oh my goodness, Bruce Willis is actually dead." So what I wanted to do is to create a really awesome course, and you say, "By the way, that course didn't exist at the beginning of this interview."
Wow. Neat. Neat. What about the next generation course? Is that
The
gonna
next
that
generation course,
takes
I'm sure, is finished by now. And we've done courses and all kinds of fun things. I've noticed, for example, I'm personally interested in history of Titanic. And so now what I found myself is rather than going to YouTube and going to Facebook and searching in Google, I just go to Copilot and say, build me a course in Titanic. And it puts together an amazingly good course in 10 minutes or less, pulling in all the imagery and videos and everything else. So it's actually starting to change the way that I educate myself.
Wow.
Now, are there
Fantastic.
any other things that
Fantastic.
I
It's good.
can tell your audience about CYPHER Learning, John?
I don't know. I'm more just processing right now, like, what that's going to mean, what it means for your learning process personally, like you just described with Titanic, but just how administrators and how instructors and how learning and development groups and organizations, are going to have to reprocess,
Yeah.
how they think
Well,
about things.
our view is people are not going to have to change very much to take advantage of this stuff. So it's designed to help people, not replace them. And I was essentially an L&D kind of guy, and we've got our own L&D staff at CYPHER Learning. And if I could have had this superhuman assistant do 80% of the work for me, that just gives me, I can use the same amount of time that I would have done for a course, or maybe a little less, but make that remaining 20% really special. So, and the fact that you don't have to know anything about AI to use Copilot, there's no AI training, you don't have to know about ChatGPT or any of these other services. It's just, we've taken it and we've canned it and presented it in a way that anyone can use with no training. And it's somewhat addictive. When you can build courses this fast, it like makes you happy. And it allows you to do what you used to do in a much more streamlined and enjoyable fashion. So like I say, I don't think it requires anyone to change very much. It's like, hey, we're just going to give you a bucket load of time for a very small amount of money, and then you do with that time whatever you want.
Yeah, well, that's the change part I'm thinking of. So, with all that extra time, then how do you?
Yeah, exactly. What kind of courses would you build?
Now the sky's the limit.
With an extra 320 hours, maybe they would be more engaging. Maybe be, more fun, more sophisticated. Who knows?
Yeah, for sure. And so on the back end, just to put it in perspective, are you asking ChatGPT things in the back end? Is that where it's going for this? Or are you asking multiple AI?
So in the back end, Copilot is powered by multiple services. And those services are hidden from the end user. They don't know anything about tokens or open API or any of that kind of stuff. And one of the reasons that we do that is because we want the option to swap those services out. So ChatGPT is, the current leader, but in 6 months' time, maybe there's a new product from company XYZ. So, we're intentionally hiding that layer from our end user so they just don't have to deal with it at all. We've also thoroughly run through all the copyright issues. They're all documented. ChatGPT content, for example, right now is not subject to any worldwide copyright, so you can use it however you want. But imagery, which comes from a different service, some of those images might be subject to copyright restriction. And we're very careful. We put under this image, this may be subject to copyright restriction, and that's part of the 20% is making sure you know which images and videos you want to put inside of your courses.
For now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Nobody make this.
And there are AI services for automatically generating images. And I think Copilot 1.1 will probably provide that option. So if you're worried about copyright, pay a few more credits and then actually just generate completely new images that are not subject to copyright.
Yeah. I've seen some demonstrations of that. That technology is ripping along too.
It is.
So
it's pretty amazing.
A natural extension. And how about last question? My mind always goes back to extended enterprise and the need for custom content that's proprietary to an organization. Can I point this thing at my own SharePoint site versus ChatGPT, or what
So
about a
not
data source
currently,
like that at the end of the day?
not currently, but that's coming on later this year. So the
Really? Okay,
and
cool.
our feeling is even corporations who are doing custom courses unique to them, 80% of those courses are normally generic. Obviously, if it's like, how does a Siemens power generator work? Okay, well, that one's going to be like 100%,
Sure.
unique. But if you're talking about company culture, there's going to be a whole bunch of things that are unique to your company, and there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff which is somewhat generic. So even in Copilot 1, you can use Copilot to generate you 80% of that course, and then you go in and replace certain things that are unique to your organization. But that being said, later on this year, you are going to be able to ingest private documentation, which is going to be kept private, and that will automatically be incorporated into your courses.
Well, that's going to really extend the capabilities exponentially another time. And there's probably opportunities with things like product help, formulating in product help, for like customer learning or things like that, all out of the same competencies, the same rubric, the same
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 everything. Yeah,
processes, the same
yeah, and
everything.
that is one
So,
thing that we've
boy,
noticed
sky's the
is
limit.
that Copilot has a very powerful general underlying architecture. And to build Copilot version 1, we had to create that entire architecture, which was quite sophisticated. This is not just calling ChatGPT. It's like it's doing a lot of stuff under the scenes.
Yeah.
But now that we've built that architecture, extending the architecture and adding additional Copilot tasks is much quicker than we even expected. So that's why Copilot is going to evolve quite quickly. And
I haven't seen anything like it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Like I was going to say, like, as an educator, I'm also very, very interested in using Copilot to improve the learner experience. So that's going to be a big focus for CYPHER Learning, is for the learner perspective, how can we help them to learn things much quicker in a more personalized and guided way? And Copilot's going to play a really big part in the learner side of things.
Mm-hmm. I bet. Well, you're doing a lot of the right things, Graham. You have just nice, substantial differentiation, across a dozen different areas of the application. But even more than just the differentiation, it's the attitude of where you're trying to push learning platforms, and it's just so holistic. Of all the things that you're trying to do, of what would be best practices in face-to-face learning and pulling those into the digital environment, and not having it be substandard, but the exact opposite of using the power of technology to make it even better and more interactive, and things that you couldn't even you couldn't accomplish in face-to-face. And so that's before we even start talking about Copilot and the things that you're doing there. I just think the overall platform and the use of it. I just love some silly things that I just love is the menu structure down the left-hand side, that when you just roll over it, the menu's there with the graphics of what you're doing, but not sub-menu items, but the actual data that you're looking for is already in there. Just little things like that to just make the platform so usable.
Yeah, thank you. And
nice.
I really appreciate that. I'm a big fan of
cool.
Apple, for example. I use a lot of Apple products, and I've always liked that. They're always like this, have this intuitive feeling, like delightful. And so that's one of the things that we want to bring to the table as a company, is that same kind of modern learning experience that the modern learner expects. And most times they don't get what they're expecting. I mean, I'm not going to mention a particular competitor, but one of our execs was taking a course on one of our competitors, like a all about marketing course. And it was just so awful. I couldn't believe it. And this is like a very well-known company that's, supposedly doing good stuff in their space. And it was just mind-blowingly bad.
Wow. Well, industry, you're officially on notice. If you got this far in this executive briefing, you know what I mean. Your competition is probably going to have a serious internal discussion after watching this video of how they need to accelerate what's going on in their own research and development. I think you were spot on a few minutes ago when you said this last 6 months has seen more innovation. I think that's accurate from my seat here in the
Yeah.
industry on just how much has happened since January because of AI in general and just the different applications. But I have to admit, you've pulled together more pieces than I've seen, and a whole bunch I had never even considered. And all that's great news for CYPHER. It's great for your customers. It's great for your prospective customers, and I think it's great for the industry in general, as now the bar is being raised. So congratulations on the innovation and
Thank
success.
you, John. Thanks.
Listeners, yeah, you're welcome. Listeners, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Executive Briefing Series. Now you see why this is my favorite series of content, because I've looked at about 200 applications in the last year, and I'm just completely blown away. So if you're only a casual attendee here on this briefing session, you'll see the exciting life I get to lead here. And this is a great example of it. So thanks so much for taking the time. I know you're heading off on 2 weeks of vacation. The day's the day before you're going, which is a horrible day to have an hour meeting. So thanks for taking the time.
Oh, it's my pleasure,
And
John.
we'll see you on the next.
It was really nice being on your show. Thanks. And thanks to the listeners. I hope you enjoyed the presentation.
Yeah, and you can go to cypherlearning.com, of course, and get trials, engage with the sales force, see all this stuff in action really, really easily, and I encourage you to do so. So there you have it. You can find more of our independent resources on talentedlearning.com. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you on the next.